Three new investment products got listed on the Botswana Stock Exchange last week. And a day before the launch, investors in the room were already asking for a product that does not exist yet. And that single moment actually tells you more about where Botswana's investment market is actually heading, more than the listing ceremony itself. And let me just walk you through it. Good morning. My name is Kilo Gakwafetse, an economist in Botswana, shaping economic policy altogether. Last week, Botswana got three new ETFs, exchange-traded funds, from Satrix, a South African company that has pioneered index investing on the continent 25 years ago and now manages approximately 150 billion rands in assets. An ETF in its simple at its core. So instead of basically picking out one stock and hoping, you actually get to buy a basket that tracks the entire market. And the first one that is actually tracks is called the S&P 500, which is the 500 biggest companies in America. So your Apple, your Nvidia, your Microsoft, your Amazon, all in one basket. And the second one is called the MSCI World Index, which is over 1,200 companies across 23 developed countries. The third one tracks emerging markets with 1,100 companies across 24 developing economies, including China, Taiwan, and South Africa. Three different levels of risk and exposure, all newly available here in Botswana. So here's what it means practically, because there's a part that is the coverage actually get to miss. So these are feeder funds. So your Pula goes in locally through the Botswana stockbroker, and the funds are channeled into a global version offshore, and you end up owning a slice of the biggest companies without an offshore bank account and without the Botswana central bank's exchange control protocols, and without any of that type of paperwork that makes it made it harder in the past for you to participate in such. So for you to do so, you need to approach a licensed broker, which is Motswana Securities or Imara Capital Securities, and bring your KYC information, and within 24 hours this process can be facilitated for you. So there's actually no minimum amount that you need to invest, but because brokers get to charge in a base commission per trade, if you're going to put in 100 Pula, it means the fees are going to eat up most of it. So it's actually more practicable for you to actually put a minimum at least of 1,000 or 2,000 Pula to start now participating fully. The scale context in terms of why it matters more than it sounds. A representative from the S&P Dow Jones Indices, which is the company that actually owns the S&P 500 itself, says something worth sitting with. The assets that are tracking the S&P 500 globally are roughly $20 trillion US, which is largely closer to the GDP of China. And Botswana just got formally propped and plugged into that ecosystem through a local currency structure, something worth celebrating because there's the first of its kind in this country. And something actually got stuck with me in the room, hey? And the same speaker said that investors were already asking the very same day for a technology-specific ETF, not the broad S&P 500, but something more narrower, targeted towards technology. And that tells you something that is real, right? Because the S&P 500 is already close to 40% of technology stocks. And once somebody actually understands what they hold, that next question gets more specific and their needs tend to evolve. A market that does not grow because of a product getting listed, it grows because there's more understanding of the financial products and the capital markets in terms of what are they buying, and they start asking for more in terms of the diversification. The honest caveat is that the very same speaker gave the most honest line in that entire morning. Listing ETFs is not a silver bullet whatsoever. It does not create market liquidity overnight. The tools are here now. What happens next depends entirely on whether people understand how to use them and participate in the entire financial and capital markets ecosystem as a whole. So the real story this week is not three new products being listed. It is that Botswana and the country as a whole is now connected to a $2.5 trillion market. And the questions that actually matter is whether Botswana investors get that information that they'll be able to use, participate, and invest in the global economy. And the capital media is actually one of those platforms that are making some of this information dissemination much more simpler and much more, a bit more tangible for the regular person to participate on. Do visit our website to come and see some of these products, www.thecapitalbw.com. / any of the products that you want to see in there. The link is on the bio as well. Do participate, do learn more about these. It's something that we have in the pipeline. Thank you, and you have yourself a good day.